Hello, today is Friday, the 24th of April, 2020. I'm speaking with you today from the Ladies Gallery here at Bevis Mark Synagogue. I'm going to share with you today what I consider to be one of my favorite objects in the entire collection of Bevis Marks. What we have here is a Torah mantle, a cover for the scroll of the Torah, which is from 1830. But what makes it so special is that it was fashioned out of a wedding dress, none other than the wedding dress of Judith Cohen, who would become Lady Judith Montefiore, who married Sir Moses Montefiore. They had married in 1812, and obviously at some point determined to take her beautiful wedding dress and to fashion it into the Torah mantle as a way of sharing it with others, but perhaps because the Torah itself symbolizes the marriage between God and the Jewish people, and so fitting that her wedding dress would be used to enhance that very symbol. The reason, though, that I've chosen to share this with you today is because I think this time of reading of the Torah actually perfectly fits with some aspects of Lady Judith's life. This reading of the coming week of Tazria talks about childbirth. And as we know, sadly, Lady Judith and Sir Moses were not blessed with children. But we know that instead they devoted their life to philanthropy, to good works, to helping as many as they possibly could. And last week's reading, we read the laws in Shemini, the laws of kashrut. And that really sums up one of the areas where Lady Judith made a really interesting contribution to the Jewish community. And that was through the publication of this book that I have here, the Jewish Manual, which was published in the 1840s. It was published anonymously, simply by a lady. But what's so interesting about it is that it's the first English language cookbook to ever be produced. And what's also interesting about it is that it contains recipes that are both Ashkenazi and Sephardi, because of course she was Ashkenazi and Sir Moses was Sephardi. But what's really interesting about it is that she takes recipes that would have been commonplace in English society, middle class and upper class kitchens, and she finds ways to make them kosher. So of course, no mixing of milk and meat, only using kosher animals, and so on. And so in this way, she found a way to help Jewish people to participate in broader society by making substitutions and adjustments so that Jews could enjoy the foods that the people around them were enjoying as well. And what I think is so special about this book is that it's not only a cookbook, it also goes beyond that as well. It shares a bit of the values of Lady Judith Montefiore, because after a whole book that talks about how to cook in the kitchen, as well as talking about different beauty tips for women as well, how their hair and their skin and so on, the final chapter really sums up, I think, what were her ultimate ideals. And I'm going to just share with you a passage with you that really says it. And she writes the following: "Body and mind are in fact so intimately connected that it is futile attempting to embellish one while neglecting the other, especially as the highest order of all beauty is," and this is in italics, "the intellectual. Let those females, therefore, who are most solicitous about their beauty and most eager to produce a favorable impression cultivate the," again in italics, "moral, religious, and intellectual attributes. And in this advice consists the recipe for the finest cosmetic in the world." And so here at the very end of her book, she sums up the idea that the ultimate gift that any person has, both man and woman, is not in the kitchen, is not in one's physical appearance, but is in the mind. And so in this way, she was really putting forward what she saw as the ideal place of women in society, in that respect no different than men, that they should cultivate their mind, that they should contribute to the world through their intellect, and not simply through their recipes. And so I think that that's perhaps one of the greatest messages that she provides here in her kosher cookbook. And while, of course, we want to all eat good food, ultimately to aspire to the greatest developments of all, the developments of the mind. And so with that, I wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom, a Chodesh Tov, and continued good health.